Well, welcome to day 13, where we're going to take a look at chapter 13 on our energy bus journey. Well, today we see a different George. He's no longer just sitting in front of the TV these days. Instead, when inspiration strikes, he picks up the book that Marty gave him and he starts to read. Who is this guy? What happened to the George who was overwhelmed and negative and stuck in a rut with the flat tire? Well, this is a different George. He's doing the work. He's making the needed changes. And as small as it may seem, a little less watching and a little more reading can really go a long way. Now, one of the things that stands out to George is the lesson about golf. The book that Marty gave him states that after a round of golf, most people don't dwell on their bad shots. They focus on what went well. Now, of course, I said most people because some of us barely have a good shot to dwell on. But I do get lucky every now and then with a chip shot. And yes, that is all I talk about. Because this principle is so true. After 9 or 18 holes, we talk about the one shot that went our way. Yet with work or our responsibilities or just life in general, it's almost the exact opposite. We talk about what went wrong and we quickly forget about what went right. But what if we flipped that? What if instead of replaying everything that went wrong, what if we developed a habit of focusing on what went right? And I love how George doesn't just learn this lesson. He actually applies it immediately. That night he goes into the kids' room and he asks them, what was a success from today? And his kids loved it. I think this is such a healthy practice. In fact, our family has a similar part of our routine. Every night at the dinner table, we ask our kids to share a highlight from their day. And it's something that both kids look forward to telling us about. And here's the point. I think it's important to teach our kids this habit because, as we learned a few days ago, what we focus on grows. If we make it a habit to focus on what we do want rather than what we don't want, well, it completely shifts our mindset. Are you starting to see how much of what we're learning is kind of all coming together? Yeah, well, now let's put it into practice with a reflection question. I want you to think back to yesterday. What was one great thing that happened or something you're proud of? I want you to make a note of that. You can even write it right there in your book. Because I believe that this simple habit of reflecting on what went right each day is going to help us shift our focus and also be more present and recognize things that happen in the moment. Now, at the end of the chapter, we see something interesting. George's boss is starting to notice a difference. He's starting to see George's attitude is shifting. And now, George wants to share what he's learned with his team because he knows, like him, they need it too. And all George has to do is invite them. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about tomorrow. I'll see you then.